Hey everybody, Alan Cox here, Microsoft MVP. Today I want to take just a moment and talk about something that I do get asked from time to time, and that is about conversation history. How do we clear conversation history inside of Copilot? The chat history that it keeps a record of. Should we get rid of it? Why might we get rid of it? Why might we want to keep conversation history, and how can it be helpful? We'll show a few other things around that. But anyway, that's our topic for today, so let's get to it. All right, so what we are talking about here when we're talking about Copilot history or this chat history is history that just shows up kind of throughout the environment. And so here we have conversations, we have history here. We can go to all conversations here. We can see kind of a history of conversations there. But we are, how do we get rid of that? Should we get rid of it? So there's a couple things to note here. First of all, when it comes to the conversation history or these conversations here, is we can go in here and we can go in and rename this so that if we want to keep it, we can make it a little more intuitive instead of just what was typed in chat. Also, and I may do a video on this at some point, we can now add this to a notebook so that it automatically goes into Copilot notebooks, and so pretty cool there. But there are times where we might want to get rid of this history because perhaps you are going to be doing a presentation or a demo or something of that nature, something I do all the time, and you might not want potentially sensitive information being displayed as far as the history of the conversation, because if I go back into a conversation, it's going to pull the result of that prompt in there. So, so if I were to go into here, for example, it's going to go back to the prompt, but it's going to give me everything that the prompt returned. And so that's just kind of what we're talking about. We're talking about history, not just what I've asked, but what is the returned from the prompt there. And so there are several ways we could do this. Yeah, we could go in and we can say, okay, I'm going to delete this from my history. I could go in and do that. Of course, if we go in and we have a bunch of conversations over time, and obviously if you're in Copilot a ton, as I am, it can really stack up and you can have a lot of history. It can be good, but they kind of get in the way also. So how do we go about clearing this kind of in one fell swoop? And by the way, it's also here, right? So we've got it history there as well. And in each application, that chat history is there as well. So the quickest way to get rid of this conversation history is by opening up our browser here, and I'll just go into the logged in account here, and I will type in the myaccount.microsoft.com. Once we're in Microsoft, the myaccount.microsoft.com, from there I can go down here to settings and privacy, over to privacy, and then from there I can see Copilot history, activity history. And of course, we can pop out here. We can see, well, what exactly is this going to do? What is this about? And feel free to read that information. But when you delete, it's the deletion request sent to Microsoft. It may take some time, and it depends on what it is, how much it is, where it is, could determine how much time it does take. But in our little environment here, we should see this happen, most of it in pretty short order. So I'm going to go here and click delete history. I'm going to check this box here that does include apps, including Teams, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, etc. And then from there, again, it's saying what happens if I delete my activity history. And so I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. And that's it. It sent the request off to Microsoft. Now I'm going to pop over here, back over to my chat experience here, and I'm going to just drop this down, and we should see this pretty close to real time. I'm going to let this kind of go here. Let me drop out of here and back in. There we go. Now we can see it just says new chat. That history is now gone. And so it can't take, in my case, it was very quick, but I don't know, only had a few days of history in there. But it can take some time. Now this history that's over here can take a little bit longer, and it does tend to take considerably longer. Not sure why that is, but it just does. Now, the applications also can take a little bit of time. So if we were to go into Word, Excel, etc., and that chat history on the side there would be cleared up as well. So that's it. That's how we can clear some chat history and kind of clean our slate just a little bit. But that's all I have. I hope it's been informative for you, and appreciate your time today. Talk to you later.